What's the history of the word woke, and why is it now a bad word? Today we're going to find out. Before woke evolved into an all-encompassing term to describe left political ideology, or for shorthand for people on the left in general, or even worse, weaponized as a soft N-word. But before 2014, the phrase woke and stay woke was simply a call for African Americans to be on the lookout or be careful in a system that was created to be unjust. The concept of wokeness can be traced back to the early 20th century and a call to action by Jamaican philosopher and social activist Marcus Garvey. In 1923, Marcus Garvey called for global black citizens to wake up Ethiopia, to wake up Africa. This call to action aimed to foster social and political awareness, and one of the earliest known examples of wokeness as an idea of black consciousness waking itself up. A few years later, 1938, the phrase "stay woke" turned up in a song about the Scottsboro Boys, a protest song by blues musician Hughie Ledbetter, aka Leadbelly. The song chronicles the unjust trial and conviction of 9 black African-American teenagers in Scottsboro, Alabama in 1931 who were wrongfully accused of raping 2 white women. Leadbelly said that he met the Scottsboro defendant's lawyer and introduced him to the men himself. "When I made this little song down there," Leadbelly says, "I also advised everybody to be a little careful when they go down there, and it's best to stay woke and keep your eyes open." Leadbelly uses the phrase "stay woke" as a symbol of African Americans' need to stay aware of the dangers of white America and the racial motivations that they face. This use became the most common and most consistent use of the phrase ever since. In 1962, the New York Times published an article by black novelist William Melvin Kelly entitled "If You Woke, You Dig It." No Mickey Mouse can be expected to follow today's Negro idiom without hip assist. Kelly's piece discussed the origins of the beatnik culture and language, such words like cool and dig, and highlighted the fact that these terms did not originate with white America, but with black jazz musicians. He argued that to understand language in this culture, one needed a hip assist from African American culture. Kelly's article discusses the ever-changing nature of black American vernacular and the importance of preserving it from exploitation or alteration by white people. Given that this is the earliest mainstream reference of the term woke, is an opinion piece that warned against the habit of white Americans appropriating black vernacular. In a way, it seems that the word even predicted its own fate. Today, of course, the word woke and its derivatives, such as politically correct, social justice warrior, cancel culture, have been adopted by conservative groups to insult people on the left. The phrases have become so negatively charged that they've been labeled as skunk terms. This has led to people abandoning their use, as the malicious intent of those words have made them so unpleasant that they can't be employed in their original context. February 3rd, 1903, Jack Johnson earned a victory in a 20-round match against Denver Ed Martin, officially claiming the title of World Colored Heavyweight Champion. The World Colored Heavyweight Champion was a title awarded to black boxers from 1876 until 1935. The championship was only available to black boxers before Jack Johnson became the heavyweight champion in 1908, beating Tommy Burns. But the World Colored Heavyweight Championship was still held until Joe Louis became the officially recognized champion in 1935. Although not sanctioned by any governing body, the concept of the colored heavyweight title was widely accepted by the public because white champions grew the color line and would not defend their title against a black man. John L. Sullivan, recognized as the first modern heavyweight boxing champion, staunchly refused to defend his title against a black boxer, despite the fact that he had fought black opponents on his way up to the title. Subsequent white champions, James Corbett and James J. Jeffries, continued to follow suit, and this clear racial discrimination against black boxers led to the boxing public recognizing 2 separate world championships. Even after Jack Johnson won the world title in 1908, the colored bar remained in effect because Johnson refused matches against other black heavyweights. Johnson, who had relinquished the colored heavyweight champion after he became world champion, refused to fight Joe Jeanette, Sam Langford, and Harry Wheels, all who had won the colored world championship at some point. Allegedly, black boxers were not given a shot at the title because boxing promoters felt that no one would want to watch a match between 2 black boxers, thus making them financially unviable. Jack Johnson's refusal to fight black boxers upset the black community because opportunities to fight white boxers were so scarce. Joe Jeanette would state that Jack forgot about his old friends once he became champion and drew a colored line against his own people. February 8th, 1968, the historically black college of South Carolina State experienced one of the most violent moments of the civil rights movement, an event that many are not even aware of. This event is known as the Orangeburg Massacre and saw white state troopers fire on a mostly African-American crowd, injuring 28 and unaliving 3 black students. 2 days prior to the shooting, the students of South Carolina State attempted to desegregate a white-only bowling alley. The owner refused to serve the students, which resulted in violence, with 9 students and 1 officer becoming injured. The day of the shooting, the students once again protested the segregated bowling alley, this time starting a bonfire in the street. The fire department was called out to put out the fire, and they were escorted by officers with carbines, pistols, and riot guns. The police opened fire on the crowd as the students attempted to escape the area. The police claimed that they were fired on first, but this was never confirmed. South Carolina Governor Robert McNair attempted to attribute the violence to Black Power activists, claiming that the officers fired in self-defense while being attacked by campus snipers. However, witnesses from reporters, firemen, and students conflict this narrative. They report that the officers fired on the crowd without warning, and there was no evidence that suggests that the protesters were armed. None of the 9 officers were ever charged in their roles in the shootings, but Cleveland Sellers, a young black man and program director of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, was convicted of rioting for his role leading up to the protests. He served 8 months in jail and was not pardoned until 1993. Thank you. I'm your host, Country Boy, and this has been One Mic History. I'm going to continue with this mini-series, and if you have questions or you just want to leave your comments, like I said, you can do so at onemichistory.com in the contact page. Thank you for listening, and peace.